Hi. Something a little different in Green Ginger Conversations this time, and I think I need to explain one or two things before we get into the conversation itself. When I first moved to the United States, I was playing at a club, and a chap came up to me afterwards and said, "I really like that song of yours. Have you got a recording of it?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Oh, well, come to my recording studio and I'll just make one. You don't have to pay me anything. I'll just do it because I want to hear the song." And I told him the truth. I said, "Yeah, I hate recording studios. Uh, I hate the people, the engineers who sit behind the desk because it's all about them and I feel intimidated and I've never made a good studio recording." And he said, "Well, come on, anyway, just come." Well, his name was Dave Leonard. And that was an amazingly important recording for me because it started a 12-year project between Dave and myself. Every time I write 4 or 5 songs which are halfway worthy of being recorded, I go to his studio and he puts them down. I've got dozens and dozens of these recordings, as I say, over the last 12 years. When Green Ginger came to the United States 2 years ago, I booked us in to be recorded by him, and I think that the whole thing went very well, as you'll hear a bit later on. So it's about Dave Leonard. He's a very extraordinary man. He's got the ears of a bat and the patience of Job. So what he does is to not only engineer but actually produce smaller artists. And for that we're all very grateful. I'll tell you, the standard of his recording is so good that one year all 5 artists who were in a top Nashville competition were recorded at Dave Leonard's studio. The equipment seems to have changed as time has gone by, and I think he'll explain that a little bit later on in the conversations. It's divided into 2 parts, really. One is a general conversation about him and the way he views producing CDs. And the second part would be of particular interest to singers, to songwriters, to people who have home studios, and to people who want to make recordings and professional recording studios as well. So I'm not in this. In fact, it's the other 3 guys who get to talk to Dave Leonard. So enjoy.
And that's one of the key things, Dave, I think, because it's the differences between a producer and an engineer. Because there are record producers, and I think of people like Phil Spector, who has his way of, this is the way that any song is going to be, and he's got his sound. They don't listen to what maybe the artist says, "This is what I want to sound like," which you seem to approach that differently.
I guess it's a combination of both because my work approach, I mean, I've never been hired in a major studio. I've worked in major studios, but I didn't want to go that route because I just never did. I was able to do what I did. I continued to do what I do. I taught myself how to play guitar. I taught myself how to do this, and I taught myself how to do that. So all of my career has been self-taught, and I love working with people. I do. I love doing this, but the 80s and the 90s allowed me to come up with things out of my head and make them work as a single person with a vision. And the other thing that really helps is the songwriting. That is the key right there. I think it's if the bones are there, everything's going to be great. It doesn't matter kind of what you do with it because you're still going to have a great song. A lot of the times that people will bring in their material to me, I'll listen to it, and sometimes it's right, but most of the time there's something that needs a little work, and they know it. They feel like it's ready to go, but in the back of their mind they go, "There's this one thing." They'll play the song for me, and I'll go, "All right, love it, love it, love it." And I'm not going to be into too much of the lyric necessarily, but it's the music because that's my portion of it. If the music isn't exactly working with it, then I have to say something. I have to make a suggestion on a change or a change in the arrangement or something. And then once we can get past that, then we can go with whatever lyric that they've written. But when it comes time for them to sing it, after we got the music down, there might be some lyric things that we can concentrate on and go, all right, lyrically, that little line right there, you're going to lose people. Or the way that you say that, you're not going to be able to understand it. So we'll make our final changes there on the lyric side later down the process. But, the early on, I want to know where they want this to go. I want to try to get inside their head and hopefully deliver something that's better than their vision.
Dave, how many instruments do you play yourself? I had this vision of you being a multi-instrumentalist. Then I suddenly thought, I bet he's doing a lot of it electronically.
Yeah, I'm happy to promote the myth, but I only do really about a couple things. I began as a keyboard player. My mother gave me paid for piano lessons, and then the Beatles came out, and my cousin put an electric guitar in my hand and showed me a bar chord. And I thought to myself, why am I learning 12 keys when all I have to know is 2 shapes? So, I suddenly just kind of shifted my focus, and all the music coming out was guitar music. The Beatles were out. Everything was guitars and that. And I was able to play both instruments, and I just happened to come along in a time when both of those instruments were the dominant instruments of pop. So that's the basics. Acoustic guitar is where I began, picked up electric guitar after that, learned bass after that. All the pop instruments, keyboards, electric pianos, organs, synthesizers, all that stuff. And through college, I learned orchestration, and so when the synthesizers allowed me to create, orchestral instruments, I was prepared. I knew how to voice those, and so I was able to do that. Drums.
When we've been interviewing singers and songwriters, we've often asked them what were their best gigs and worst gigs. What I want to know from you, Dave, when you have an artist come into the studio particularly...
I'm not going to say a thing about Louis.
No. What are your likes and your pet hates? What really annoys you with people who come in to record?
What annoys me?
There's Louis walking up the drive. Guitar under his arm.
There's a little anxiety, I guess, with every client because I want to do my best, and any insecurity that I feel, any kind of negativity that I feel is going to come out in that session. So it's more on me than it is on anything. I've got clients that have come in that I've got a current client, okay, and I have grown to love this guy, but but he came in with me to play me a bunch of songs to get my take on his material, and I was honest, brutally honest, and pretty much said that everything he had. If you wanted to talk about, a song that was going to have an impact, all of these were like, nice for you, but I don't know if you're going to get anybody. Maybe everybody, Richard, everybody's got a potential audience. So you should sing. Now,
I do sometimes.
I am convinced everyone has a potential audience, So this guy played me all this stuff, and I'm like, terrible. I was really brutally honest. And then he called me back up to record with me. Now I've got to get on the same page with this guy because it's a different deal. He's no longer asking me his opinion. He's saying, I want to go forward with this, and I want you to help me. So it doesn't matter what I think of his song anymore. It's a matter of, let me get behind what this guy is trying to do. And if it's just, restoring some old audio, I'm glad to do that. And if it's taking that old audio that he had and making it, dressing up that pig a little bit and make it look a little prettier, I'm all about that too. And if I can come up with an idea that might bring it even more in line with what he's hearing, because I know he's hearing some things that just aren't there, then that's my job too. So it's more of me getting on board with what this person wants to get. And I think as long as they are, as long as they don't have, gee whiz, unrealistic expectations about it, I'll do everything I can to get them that vision out of to get them out of the head and onto something that they can hear, and try to give them a really good, honest opinion about, what it is that they're doing. The internet has leveled the playing field. There's always an audience for somebody, and I'm just convinced of that. So it's up to you to find your audience. And the only time that I ever get, I guess, frustrated is probably me, who's not able to get that out of, I can't come off of my page. I can't get onto their page. It's a frustration for me. And when I'm able to look at it a different way and get back with them on it, things work out. So, like even this guy that I pretty much just trashed and dissed, when he says, I'm going to work with you, that means he respects my opinion. Okay, fine, I get it. And that means it's my responsibility now to get on the same page with him and turn his stuff into something that counts and makes an impact. And if I can coach him along the way in order to make little small changes that'll get him to that goal, I'm glad to do it.
There's lots of artists that we've seen who've been overproduced, where too many instruments and orchestrations have been added. Do you ever find clients, Dave, where they want to add an entire orchestra and you're saying, no, this is better without it? How much do you have to play to their ego but to get a better result? Or do you say no?
No. No strings. We're not going to do strings. No. Let's find something different. Sometimes it's me. I'm an old school guy. I grew up with orchestration. I love strings. I love all that stuff. I love it. And I got a guy right now that he just wants it big. He wants to hear the orchestra. And he grew up with Elvis, The American Trilogy is one of his favorite pieces of music. So I'm like, knowing that, I'm like, here we go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get this sound out, because you got to do it. You just got to make it work. And if he's hearing it that way, it's my job to bring that out. Okay. But there are some things that, we'll do the basic tracks. I always work from what I call the next right thing. It's like, okay, you've given me this basic demo. What's the next right thing? What moves this? Is it the guitar? Is it the keyboard? Is it something else? Is it more of a band thing? What can we lay down first that's going to start this whole ball rolling, okay? Once we get that element down, what's the next right thing? And then we keep moving like that. And at some point I'm going to say, give me a scratch vocal. I don't even care if it's good. Just give me something that I can hang on to here, and I can put all this other stuff on, because we're going to get to the point now where the next thing that we add is going to steer it in a direction. You can't go back from that. It's going to go pop, or it's going to go country, or it's going to go rock, or it's going to go orchestra, or it's going to go intimate. There's going to be something that we do next that's going to push it in a direction. Where do you want it to go? And me as a listener, if I hear it intimately and it works, I say, we've got it right now. We don't have to add anything else. It's perfect. It just does everything you want it to do. Maybe we could put this one thing right there and it'll help that one line. But I think we could leave it right there. If you want to go farther, let's hold on to this as the intimate version, and then we move on with the more orchestra produced version, and that way you have a little bit of both. And so if it gets to that point, I'll try to do that. I'll give them, the twofer. But
Dave,
it's
can I
really comes
ask
down to
if
what
you have you ever had anybody in there as a client that you haven't told off? You told all us off for something,
And it was brilliant.
My words come back to me in the worst way. Okay, I'll just have to say that. Everybody's got some story about me.
We've
and
got
they're
4
saying
stories.
well, I do it in love, guys. I really do. I'm not trying to tear anything down. I'm really trying to just get to what we can do here, and I hope that comes across. Otherwise, people wouldn't be coming back. And if I do something like that, it's to make a point, and probably to make a dramatic point, or to make a clear and concise point, something that's going to require some action. If I say something like that, that's the reason why I'm doing that. But I'm also trying my best to couch it in such a way that nobody takes it so personally that they say, I'll never work with that guy again. I want to try to maintain personal respect. And so whatever stories but again, I hear my words come back and I go, oh, I said that. I'm sorry. Okay.
Because it was the first time we'd recorded with you, I think it was a bit unexpected. But actually, we all walked away saying, I'm glad he did that. And
Too right.
It was appreciated from, I think, each and every one of us. So,
Oh, I totally expected Dave to tell all 3 of you off. I knew I'd be all right.
Well, listen, man.
He heard your voice. That was enough.
No, I never sang with Dave.
I'm telling you, Louis, I've loved working with Louis, and I love hearing his stories about the BBC. And I'm always amazed when he tells me the things that he's done as a producer, as a musician.
do you want me to
He's
stop
got some
recording
stories. And he told me that you guys were going to be coming over from London, and he gave me your background, and whatever I felt about Louis, it just kind of went, holy cow. When do I ever get a chance to work with guys like this?
Oh.
I was
He's
delighted.
trying to make up for it now.
I
tell
was
you.
delighted. Chris, you know that. I mean, I pulled you aside, buddy. I mean, we had some chats, so, I think you guys are wonderful. And whatever I said in there was just basically to get a good performance. But I so am in awe of all of you.
Dave, you had said earlier on about this friend of yours who all he got was a steam-driven phone or something, and then you upgraded him to an iPhone. Did he then send you a recording of obviously his voice and his guitar on the phone? So you had a single input, if you like, voice and guitar.
Yeah, we were talking about COVID and the impact here in the United States.
That's right.
And I was telling you that I had developed procedures because I had friends of mine who had become unable to get here just due to illness. And so this was in the back of my mind anyway. I wanted to have some way of recording them when they're at home and they could bring it to me. So one of the first guys was a guy he's been recording with me for 20 years, and he's always writing. He's got a song a day just about. I mean, it's just always writing. And right now he's probably got 3 albums worth of material that he'll never be able to get to. So I wanted to make it easy for him. And I said, look, for free, I'll just record you. Just do this, help me test out this procedure, okay? Make sure we can do it. So, like I say, he was a flip phone guy. He didn't, and when he would bring in stuff for me in the studios, he had this ancient cassette player. And lucky for me, I have a cassette deck. I could play it on, but I I tell him, you got a phone, you can record it into your phone. He has an iPad. Never do it. He would always do it into his cassette and bring it here. Terrible. So anyway, that being aside, that's who I was dealing with. And it was his family that finally made him make the decision to purchase a different phone because he had a new granddaughter and he couldn't do video chats because of COVID-19 unless he got a smartphone. So that caused him to get a smartphone. And and when I started looking at it, I was just kind of wondering, this phone's got a pretty good mic. And if you've gone Googling phone microphone specifications, you find that even as far back as like 10 years ago, the response on a good quality cell phone is nearly flat. That's a reference mic. That's what they have. That's what you got in your smartphone. And the reason it sounds so weird is because of all the circuitry they have in order to prevent things like wind noise and all that stuff from getting in the way of your voice. The microphone is perfectly capable of picking up every sound we have, but the phone circuitry is what makes it clamp down and say nothing below 400 hertz, nothing above 4,000 hertz. But the microphone itself is really good. So there are apps written that'll take advantage of that. They're not designed for, telephony. They're designed for recording. Okay. And so I showed him how an app on his iPhone that he could use when we wanted to work together. And he tried it out one night with a brand new song. He was on the couch, just like he always does, sets the phone up where his cassette recorder would used to be, and he played this thing in, and he loved it. It sounded so good, he couldn't believe it. He got so excited, and he had been making videos for himself before. He got so excited that he used that track and created a video for himself. I mean, he had his phone. The phone would make videos. He would just do it. I mean, he did it. And then he takes that video with this crappy recording from the couch, and that was the first project he wanted to work on with me. He says, I got this new song, and so I want you to add all the other instruments around it. And we know there's no grid. His timing's off. He's flat. His guitar's out of tune. There's just everything wrong about that you can imagine. I didn't say this. The dogs got in a fight in the middle of the song. So I had to use my forensic stuff to take the dog fight out. But I couldn't change the timing. I couldn't change anything about it. Like you say, it was a single microphone. So there's only a certain amount of things you can do with it. But with spectral editing, I could do a lot more than I could before.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, that's what I worked on. And I just had to work around everything.
And do you see...
It was live.
Do you see for your business more of that happening, Dave, with people sending you... I mean, we as a four-piece, I don't know when we're next going to get together, but if we all record tracks to the same song, we could send it to you and you can put it together?
Yeah. Like, let's say if I was working with you guys, it would be, if nothing else, show me your song, get Louis to send me a recording of the song, whatever, if it's a Louis song. I don't care if he's in tune, out of tune, in time, out of time. I don't care. Just send it to me, okay? Then I'll get together with Louis. We'll talk about this arrangement, how you want it to go, how he's got the vision for it. Then we got to have a basics to work from, okay? We have to have something solid that everybody can agree on is the thing. So it might be me putting a guitar part down in rhythm, in time, with a count off, so that everybody can add their parts individually to it. And then you can send me the parts in through Dropbox or whatever, and then I can add those back in. And these are, when I record with my clients, I'm choosing apps that can record wave quality, wave file. So these are huge files, just like 10 megs a minute. So that's what we're doing. And when I get a file in from my clients and we're working this way, there's no compression, there's no problems with the MP3 crap. We've got uncompressed audio to work with, and I can then take it into my DAW, fix what I need to fix, make it work. But that's the way I would propose to do it with you guys. Have something solid to work from that you know is right. You know the arrangement. Richard, you can just put your bass on at home, play right along with it. It doesn't even matter if it's in your living room. I can take the room out, but you've got the ability to go direct. So, you got a way of getting around there too. And singing, same way, but I would say we probably get the instruments right first. And once we got that right, then next step would be get a lead vocal on. It's all the stuff that you do in the studio. It's just that now it takes a lot more time, because every part of this process, something that would be with, like in the studio, you'd play something for me. I go, yeah or no, or yeah, let's fix. And you could fix, and it's a quick thing. But here it's like, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to send it to you. You're going to receive it. You're going to listen to it. You're going to get back to me. If there's something that needs to be fixed, then you're going to have to fix it. Then we have to do this whole process again and again. Yeah. So it takes a lot more time, but you can get a good...
So I think that is the encouraging thing, that people can actually produce something that will sound pretty crap, but can send it to somebody like Dave and can make something that, is commercial standard.
Another game changer for me was finding another little app called Listen To. It's made by a company called Audio Movers. And at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it because it's like a subscription thing, So I'm like, well, let me try it for a month. This was at the beginning of COVID. So I paid for a month. I've upped it every month. I just keep using it again and again and again, because it'll take the audio directly from my DAW, stream it to a website, and anybody who has that website can then listen to my nearly live stream. We're talking about a half a millisecond latency by the time I get it from my DAW to the website. Like when we're on Zoom here, we've probably got at least a second or maybe 2 seconds latency. So it's really hard to do anything. But with this, I'm able to give you high quality audio, stereo, right off my DAW. And we can also maintain a Zoom call or a Skype call at the same time, so that we can maintain a visual and this kind of communication. And you can also not only hear what's coming off of my computer, but I can share my screen with you and you can see. So it's the next best thing to being in the studio. You see it, you hear it. You can say, oh, right there, Dave, right, just back up. You see that little thing right there? Just back up to that place. Let me hear that. Things like that. We can work on it.
Yeah, because I know that there's one app called Jamkazam that's been trying to reduce that latency so that people can play with each other remote live. It's not there yet, but they're getting closer.
Yeah, I think we've got a ways to go before we're going to see something that's really working like that. If you take a look at Google the word graphene, that's going to usher in a new set of everything. Graphene is a single layer of carbon. It's and it's stronger than diamond. It's more flexible than rubber, and they're using it in everything from tires to batteries to concrete to water filtration, and also superconductivity, but also semiconductor when they pair it with another sandwich of another element. And that has given them the ability to go atomic with the computing for the first time. And the idea about quantum computing has been theoretical for a long time, but now they've reached a place where they're on the breakthrough of it, where they've got now abilities to, instead of ones and zeros like we have for our computers now, their abilities to create 16 different states. So in a matter of about 5 years, you can kiss this stuff goodbye. We're going to have a technology like you as Trump says, like you wouldn't believe. Okay.
Can't wait.
We've done well to keep up with it as it is. When we've been
But when that happens, though, we were talking about computing on an atomic level and computers that are 300 times as fast as these now. And so, yeah, the idea of collaborating in real time, yes, that's going to happen.
And you think that will completely change recording? I mean, people won't actually need to go in the studio.
Who knows where it's going to go with it? But yeah, I mean, just everything's the internet. Lord, we've lived with the internet now for what, 20 years? You know, since '98. I was right there with it when they developed hypertext language. You know, I was ready for it, and I've watched it balloon. You know, just explode now. You know, where it used to be something where it was like, okay, nice to play with. You know, you have your little chat room, you have your bulletin board. Now it's like, if I don't have my internet, I don't have my friends. You know?
The other thing that we found trying to record remotely is how much, and it's different to when we recorded with you in Atlanta, how much we work off each other by looking at our body language and our eyes. We know when each of us is going to do something because we've built that up. But actually doing it in your own bedroom or your own thing is so much harder to get all that timing naturally right. It's much, much harder doing it remote.
I think it's a different mindset. Like if you take the approach that I was talking about with, you know, say starting from a good solid bed and then each of you adding your part to it, it's a sort of a bucket brigade version of recording. So you're getting something from someone and you're the next right instrument. Okay. So you're listening to what's going on, with this track that you're getting from someone. And you have the option, or you have the opportunity to listen to this thing not just once. It's not a live thing where you have to react and read somebody's body language, but you can listen to that track over again, and again, and go, right there where he did that thing. I think I'm going to do this, and then you get to respond from a different point of view. And so once you get your part on there and you've got that thing and you've given it back to me and I go, yeah, I love that. Let's do that again over here. You know, maybe I changed it up a little bit and it makes it a little bit different too. And then that goes on to the next right guy who gets the chance to listen to that and go, oh, they did that. Oh, wow. I wasn't playing it like that. Okay, I like that. And so then they start changing their approach in order to make it work better with this track. It's a different way of doing it.